Hello Internet, my name is Ace and today we're going to be carrying on the series that I've been doing on drawing beautiful women or drawing animated characters, female animated characters in general, from the front view. And today we're going to be covering the mouth. So we've done the eyes so far. I think we started with the eyes, we've done the nose, now we're going to do the mouth. So the mouth is... Again, it can be very expressive. We're just going to do kind of... I'll maybe talk about expressions if you want in another video. But we're just going to do like really basic expressions. Here, we'll do one that's a little bit more... Not realistic, but caricatured realism, like everything is. Just to kind of know what we're talking about, the different parts of the mouth. So again, you can follow along with a pencil, you can follow along with a Photoshop, iPad, anything you want. So in the middle of the mouth, we have this thing here. Some people have it more predominant, big thing. I really don't know what they're called, but we have this. Some people can have like more like direct arrows like that. But we have this. Then coming out from that, we have the remainder of the lip. This is the top lip, obviously. So, as always, keep it very sketchy and keep it very, just very loose. I'll just zoom in there, but very loose so you can really, I don't know, I'm just saying so and really a lot, I think. As in every video, you're probably getting bored of me saying this now, but try and make both sides slightly different shapes, just to add a bit more interest. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But if we take the kind of standard pin-up, I guess, lip, I like to make one lip higher than the other as well, because again, it may look a little bit Sylvester Stallone, but it really does add character and just gets away with the generic side of things a little bit more. So we have the opening bit of the mouth. Maybe I'll change the angle of that a little bit more. Come down. As you can probably, or you may not tell, I'm not sure, everything's got this flow to it. So coming out this lip, instead of coming directly out like that, which we could, it'd be even cooler if we could add this little bend coming out like that. Just depends what kind of look you're going for. Same with this. This is not this shape. It has this curve to it. And it really just makes appealing forms. It's a little bit... It's not boring when... Well, I don't know. Maybe it's a bit boring when they're just a bit more straightforward. So again, we're going in to come out. If you take a closer look at human anatomy and stuff like that, we have this going all through our body, these S-curves, straightened curves as well. If you look at the legs, or just anything really. So this is super exaggerated, but I mean, you could add in, let's maybe add some teeth. Now, I don't really like going, again, this one's going to be a bit more realistic, so I'll show you what I don't like to do in this one. So I don't like every tooth being shown like this. I mean, it works, it makes for a nice drawing, but it's just a bit complicated for a cartoon character. I should have. Here's a mistake which people might not know that they make, but I make it. If you're right-handed like I am, then it's a lot easier if you draw the things on the left first, because when you're drawing them, the remaining ones, your arm's not covering it. Like now, I'm kind of just guessing where the gums and the size of the teeth and stuff are, because my wrist is actually covering the other ones. So it'd be the opposite if you're left-handed. So this is kind of, let's kind of add a bit more character and really crooked those teeth. So this is obviously not super attractive over the top kind of rendition of a woman. This would be kind of like a comedy kind of caricature that you would see of someone. So I wouldn't use this in a cartoon character, but it just gets us a little bit more used to the actual real anatomy going on. So we've got this tuck bit, then we've got the other bits. And like I said before, with every other part of the body we've done, the you can find the other videos, by the way, on my channel, so you can just subscribe, or there should be a playlist as well with all of the other ones in there. So we've got one lovely set of lips there. And what was I going to say? Not sure. Oh yeah, that was it. Every time you add a line onto the face, it's really going to age the character. So this is a little bit over the top. It was very over the top, but this is very. There's a lot of lines, which is something that we're not actually looking for. So as you can see, even though the angle of this and the angle of this are slightly different, I like to take the mouth and maybe raise it at one side more than the other. So we've got this kind of line here. And yeah, I would tend to raise it. I personally, when I smile, my left-hand side goes up. So I have an affinity to draw characters like this, where the viewer's right-hand side, but their left-hand side goes up. And it just makes it a bit more uneven and a bit, again, we want to add character to our characters. I know that sounds absolutely silly, but that's exactly what we're looking for. So I'm going to really, really simplify things here. This one would not be so much a sexy lady as maybe a young girl, or maybe something like that. Because the thing is, throughout time and throughout pin-ups and everything like that, a fuller lip means a sexier lady in the eyes of generalized beauty. None of the personality gets taken into consideration. So this here, you can see there's a very different thing going on between these two. They're just very different. I've not accented this bit in the middle, although you could, and I've kept really, really simple. This is very simple. I wouldn't normally draw like this, but it's a style. So we'll move on from that one. But that was basically just to show that instead of having something like that or a smile like that, these are the mouth shapes, that to have maybe a mixture. So at one side it's down here, the other side it's up like that. Really, really, really adds to the character. So, like I say, there's no detail whatsoever in this one. It's just very simple. Let's get on to the next one. So I'll do maybe one like this, but a little bit more stylized into something that you could use in animation. But let's keep it just so we can really amplify this fact. And again, I'm not saying keeping the everything symmetrical. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying there's more character without it. But here's one that will be kind of symmetrical. Maybe raise it a little bit more on this side. But it's you can still definitely get away with this. So when you drawing like a smiley face as a child, and you've got your eyes, your nose, you have the mouth and these bits, they're actually important. They're actually flesh. Like the muscles and the flesh kind of bulging up and creating this little shadow in here. And so there is actually a reason behind this. So generally with animated characters, I mean, I tend to maybe, I would disagree with this somewhat, but well, the stereotype is that the lower lip is more attractive, fuller than the upper lip. So you never want to do both lips the same. If you just had this mouth, and I mean, you could probably even get away with this, but there's probably some simple characters where the lips are exactly the same, top and bottom, unless you're going for a very, very, very simplistic stylized character, then it's just not something that's very appealing to me. Again, everything I'm talking about here just applies to my thoughts. There's no right way or wrong way to do anything. So here we've got this slightly higher on this side, and we're taking this approach a bit more rather than this, which is very plain, and we are carving out. Let's maybe bring that a bit thicker earlier. And as well, there's a very big smile. So in this one, add these little bits on here. On the first one that we did, the lips are quite bunched up, and it's, what is it? What am I even thinking? They're very like compact width wise, whereas if you're stretching something out, it's a simple principle of squash and stretch. If you've got a ball and you're animating it falling, for example, and it's doing this ball needs to have the same amount of volume as this ball, so it needs to look the same as if you was to, again, just keep the same volume. And the same with the lips and everything else. If you're stretching something out, then it just needs to really become thinner, if you understand what I'm saying. Maybe not, because I feel like I'm babbling a little bit. So again, we're just adding this opening to the mouth. And we won't go, I mean, you could go like super fat on the bottom like that, but let's, we'll go a bit more sensible. What am I talking about? It's drawing dumb cartoons. Let's maybe something like that. And again, I'm constantly trying to vary up, so there's not symmetry. If you flipped that, if you took it into Photoshop and just flipped it horizontally, they wouldn't match perfectly. So what I like to do is, instead of, like I said, drawing all the teeth, what we can do is we can just colour this bit in dark and this bit in dark, and then this kind of, it implies that there's teeth there. If we keep this white and we colour all these in, it implies that these here are teeth. And that's what we're going to do for quite a lot of them. I never really draw the teeth unless I'm doing something amusing like that first one. But I would never normally just draw the teeth. Right, so we've got 3 there. Maybe do a couple more. So let's do, let me think. Let's do one where instead of having one side higher than the other, like this, we can do it where one side's maybe higher than the other, but at the same time as that, it's longer than the other. A lot of people have crooked smiles, and it's cute. I think it's really cute. I think, again, if you're adding personality into a character and cuteness, you want uniqueness as well. And again, we're not drawing that bit down there, but we're implying it with this break that we have there. There's a slight point. Don't do it exactly at a right angle like that, but it wants to be signified a little bit. So if we take that principle of squash and stretch, then one side would be more stretched than the other. So if this lip's bunched up slightly, because it's still smiling, but it's not as stretched as this one. So I'll add maybe a little curve in there to really tuck under here. Because again, you want to be thinking about flesh and everything. God, that sounds quite macabre. Think about flesh. But you do. You really want to be thinking about the muscles and what's going on. Because you're not just drawing random lines. You're drawing human anatomy. And it's sometimes a bit boring to break it down into, well, this is the zygomatic arch and all this rubbish. But there's something to be said for having knowledge of what's working underneath. I think sometimes, not always, you can get away with it, but sometimes it helps to know about the iliac crest or whatever, to to be able to caricature it properly. And that again, that's what cartooning is. It's the caricaturing of life. So if we look here, this kind of looks like it would be at a 3/4 view. But if you did that on a front on, so you've got the nose here, then it would give like a different kind of thing. I've never really done it before, but it'd be worth trying for sure. So we've got them ones so far. Maybe do one or two more. Now, just for variation, because you understand what the principles that we're talking about here now. That everything, the top lip needs to be smaller, thinner than the bottom lip, and you just need to keep in mind all these things that we did in this first one. So let's kind of do everything that I spoke about. We'll put it all into one. So it'll be similar to this one in the fact of we're adding character. Let's start that again. So we're adding a bit there. So we're going to have one slightly longer than the other. So again, keeping in mind that bit at the bottom of the lip. The bit, I don't know what it's called. So this is going to be higher, like this, and slightly longer. So we'll still have the length in this one. There's not a great deal in it. The length between there and there and there and there. Clear the right one's slightly bigger. And as well, let's think about these muscles that it's pushing up here. Instead of just doing a little curve like that, if we had an S curve in there, you can really feel that's pushing into this part here and creating the muscles to go up. And at this side, we'll maybe just bend the muscle a little bit like this, because it's not as extreme, because the one on the right hand side is pushing up a little bit more. So again, we're going in. We do want to be, I guess, slightly thinner, but I wouldn't go too exaggerated like we did on this last one. I would just make it slightly thinner. So what we've got to think as well is that if the top lip is shaped something like that, then it's not going to be like that when it's stretched out. It's going to be, if we're emulating this like it is on the first one we did, and stretching that out, it's still going to have this S curve to it, but it's just going to be a bit more elongated. So we've got it in here. If you look, it comes up, then down, then up again to kind of really tuck in there. And that, it just adds a little bit more believability in there. So again, this one wants to be slightly thicker, but nothing like hugely. They don't want to be massively thicker because there's not that much length in. So there we go. And then we'll do a more teethy smile again. If you would like me to do a video on expressions and how to really push and mold that face to get emotion out of the characters, which I guess that's what we're constantly looking for is getting immersion, then just let me know in the comments below, and that's something I'll get round to doing. I'll get round to making a video on expressions. So let's not go super thick with this one. Again, all we're doing is taking that last one that we did and just giving it a slight bit more character. It's like that. Again, I'm staying super, what is it? Let's bring this up slightly to follow that. Super sketchy, because as always, I will ink the character so you can see what it looks like. Just rough, like the rest of them. I've not ever gone wild. I just put a bit of a quick ink in and a very quick just a slight bit of colour on there, just so you can see what's going on. So in here, this line here is the one that's connecting. In fact, I will erase that just to make it a bit more obvious to you. So I think the biggest thing to take away from this video is to look at life and kind of see how you can mold that into something. So again, we'll put that gap there, and that just is a few different mouths. So I mean, you can go super over the top and have really just push this out there, just push this to get that kind of what's she called, like Jessica Rabbit kind of feel to it, where the top lips very like pushed like this as well. Let's do that. So this is kind of a bit more of a traditional lip that you would see. Just something like that. Really pushing those things to the extreme. But again, I like to make it so there's a bit of difference there, and the height's pretty much the same. So that's not something I'm super keen on. I'm a fan of the kind of more modern approach to the animated lips, like the feature animation. I don't know why I just rubbed that out. So as you can see on the screen now, here is the kind of final inked versions, just so you can get a sense of how they would look on an actual face. So the next video I'm going to be doing is going to be putting all these things together in creating a head from the front. So we'll have the skull, the jaw, everything in there, and where to put the features to make an appealing, beautiful character. And then you'll have all the ingredients you need. You have the eyes, the nose, the mouth, to just connect those all together. So if you want to see them, just go on my channel, subscribe as well. Every subscriber helps, every like helps, and it's just great if you spread the message around. Share the video on your favorite social media site. So if you want more videos like this, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace out, Girl Scouts.